Join in. So there you go.
Okay.
So
All right.
thank you,
So I'm
Natalia, for agreeing to host today.
And who's Natalia?
This is, go to speaker view.
Natalia. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Natalya.
So I'm going to share my screen and give you a little bit of a slide presentation about my art. And then I can show you, take you for a walk around my studio. Is that okay?
Hang on, I have to,
I like the background.
Oh, thanks. I didn't clean it up for you guys.
Good.
okay, let's make sure that we can see your shared screen. I may have to adjust the setting.
Yes, you have to enable that because it says that it's disabled right now.
Okay, there you go. Okay,
Okay.
you should be good now.
Yep.
Uh-oh. What happened now?
It says that she's there.
Oh, there it is.
Me.
Double click.
Here we go.
Oh, okay.
So this is basically the inspiration for my materials. Everything that I create is made from single-use plastic. It is this. It's what's out there in the world. It's polluting our earth. It's wrecking havoc on our oceans. It's pretty much a disaster if we don't do something about it right now. So those are photos that I gleaned from the internet, but I also have taken my own photos and just a few, this is in New York City on some trees. This is, I take walks at Rockwood State Park right on the Hudson, and look, the birds are weaving nests from single-use plastic.
Wow.
Where is Rockwood State Park?
It's right next to Phelps Hospital in Westchester.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, 117?
Yes, at the end of 117.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not on 9. It's not.
You
Yeah,
can't
9
get there
meets
from 9. You have to get on 117. So it's just my own photographs of, single-use plastic here. Here's a video. This is the Manhattan Bridge.
Oh,
Wow.
Here it is waving in the wind.
Yeah.
And here it is. This is at Rockwood also. It's everywhere. Can't get away from it. So, and this is in my studio. This is my bin. These are all single-use pieces of plastic. So like plastic shopping bags, wrappers from the toilet paper that you get at the supermarket, from paper towels, there all sorts of plastic packaging. I also use netting, like the kind that your vegetables comes in sometimes. It comes in a quite array of colors. I cut up the plastic bags, I cut up the lettering for it, and I use that as texture. I cut up the big letters and I make my own kinds of graffiti from it. I also use color dryer sheets. So if you still do laundry and you use dryer sheets to keep the static down when you dry your clothes, I use them. I paint them, and they make quite a nice material.
How do you paint? How do you paint the dryer sheets?
Just with acrylic paint, watered down acrylic paint. I also use snippings of thread waste from other projects. Color catcher sheets are also a good texture. So when my kids were little, I used to have a lot more of them. I have less of them now since they do their own laundry for the most part. But they catch the excess dye when you're washing something. And they pick up nice colors. So I use those as well.
I don't understand what that is.
A color catcher sheet is it starts out as white and it's sold in a box. It says color catcher sheet. So when you do laundry and you wash something new, you throw one of those in and it will collect the excess dye.
Never heard of that.
Yeah. It's
Mm.
in the laundry aisle in the supermarket. So instead of the excess dye, making your white undies pink, it'll collect it.
Oh, interesting.
I've never heard of that. Never heard.
It's a handy
Yeah.
little thing.
Yeah.
So those have been dyed from just basic laundry. I also used vintage linens, and in many ways. So I'll show you a few things.
How
So
long?
Yes?
Sorry. How long have you been doing this type of work?
Over 10 years now. Actually, my oldest daughter just turned 18, so probably 17 years. That's how I judge everything, by how old my children are.
And before that, what were you doing before? Were you painting before that or working before that?
I was painting. So I went to the High School of Art and Design in New York City, and I majored in fashion illustration.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to Pratt, where I majored in fashion design. So I did fashion design for about a decade. And then I switched and I went into costume design and wardrobe supervision, and I worked in film and TV
Oh, wow.
for another decade. And then I had children, so I
Wow.
started making art at home, and since I'm so used to sewing, I sew my art. Sometimes I use a little paint here and there, and I have painted in the past, but mostly I use stitching for my brush strokes, or my needle and thread.
How big is this piece?
This piece is 15 by 15. So this is older piece. This is where I started using all the recyclables in my work. I was exploring my heritage. I'm originally from the Soviet Union, from a city that used to be known as Leningrad. So when I first started making art for myself, really, I started by exploring my heritage, Russian fairy tales, and views of Russian villages. So I was painting on cloth and stitching cloth. Or in this case, this is all dryer sheets that I painted and then stitched.
Oh,
And then I started layering more fabrics. I was using my own photographs, and I was playing with them in Photoshop, manipulating them in Photoshop, and then printing them on silk, layering them over vintage cloth and stitching. And in this case, I was also using paper as the edging, so I was stitching on paper. So I was layering multiple images, recyclables, paper, fabric, and stitching it all. And so this here too. So I was using text. So I guess the proper term is mixed media, because I'm using pages from books. Well, actually, I don't like to destroy books. So I'll scan a page from a book, I'll play with it in Photoshop, and I'll print it out on a piece of paper, and then I'll use it. So that's what you'll see. There's some lettering here. That's what that was.
Natalia, can I ask a question? How do you print on silk? Is that via?
I used a photo printer. I have an Epson printer, which is actually on its last legs these days, but it's a photo printer. So I push fabric through it.
It goes through it. Wow.
and that works? You don't have problems with that?
Well, now that my printer is old, I am having problems with it, but it was brand new. No problem at all. The fabric has to be backed on paper.
Oh, okay.
So it's adhered to paper, so it pushes through like a thick photo paper, actually. So
That's great.
yeah. These pieces are all out of vintage lace, different types of vintage lace. I stitched them on top of actually my grandmother's linen kitchen towels.
Oh, wow.
So,
And then this is a piece of, it's a small vintage tablecloth, which I layered with plastic bags and snippets of lace, and I stitched it all together.
how
So
about
you
the
can see the
drawing?
shiny plastic.
Did you draw also?
I'm sorry?
Did you draw the buildings?
I drew them with my needle. They're stitched.
Oh, they are. Huh.
Yes.
Wow.
Like
So-
a running stitch.
Yeah. So this is this picture pretty much represents what inspires me these days as far as subject matter. The city, graffiti, buildings, water towers, fire escapes, the grittiness of the city is really what my inspiration is. And now I mostly use
Wow.
mainly single-use plastic. So these layers of gray and beige plastic, and I stitch the outlines with a machine, and then the bridge I stitched by hand on top.
Mm. Mm.
That's amazing.
This
Wow.
is all embroidered by hand over layers of single-use plastic.
Oh, wow.
How many layers of plastic was that?
This one was many, many snippets, so probably 10 layers. And
That's
then
what I
I
thought.
adhere it to canvas or cradle board. So this is paper and thread waste and plastic embroidered by hand. This is a lot of thread waste and little snippets of fabric and plastic, also embroidered by hand.
Where do you get the thread waste?
From my own work.
Is the thread waste sandwiched between the plastic?
Yes, and no, it's over the plastic, and to keep it down, I use netting on top. So you can't see the netting, it disappears, but it helps keep it down.
That's
So
neat.
this piece is all single-use plastic layers, and then it's all hand-stitched.
That is beautiful.
Beautiful work.
Thank
Oh.
you.
Are they all about the same size, 15 by 15?
No.
No, this is 24 inches tall, so I vary my sizes quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
This piece is 12 by 12, so this is all verbiage that I cut off from plastic bags, and I collaged it together, and then I stitched on top of that.
Wow.
So the same technique here, except I, stitched by machine in this case, and then I added the letters for my own kind of graffiti. So I'm calling it graffiti because I can't really come up with a better name for it, but it's sort of, I'm inspired by graffiti, but at the same time, I'm inspired by those old-timey ransom notes where people used to cut the letters from the newspapers and mash them together.
Yeah.
So that kind of inspires me as well.
Mhm.
So this is more fire escapes on plastic. And I'm also inspired by the undercarriages of bridges. So this is the Queensboro Bridge, looking at it from underneath from the roadway. And this is the Manhattan Bridge looking up from the roadway as well. This is all plastic and Mylar and packing tape. So is this. I think this is underneath the BQE.
Have you been interested in architecture, it looks like?
I love architecture. I love, all sorts of different cities. So this is a very large piece. This is actually on a bed sheet, circa about 1950 Soviet Union. So it was threadbare, and I think it was my grandmother's, I'm not sure. So, but the fire escapes on it are all out of single-use plastic. So I have a close-up I can show you.
That's
So this is all some machine stitching, but mostly hand stitching. And here's another piece. So this one is also a bed sheet, so that it's like almost 80 inches tall. And it's this one has layers of fabric scraps on it for a background, and then the fire escapes are all out of mesh, plastic mesh.
Wow.
And then more of my graffiti work. So in the last few years, I kind of felt that civility and honesty and all that stuff's been missing. So I expressed a little bit of art in here. And I'm also really inspired by young climate activists. I don't know if you know of Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
She's a 16-year-old girl from Sweden. Well, she must be 17 by now.
It really looks like her.
Thank you. So this is my portrait of her with all her climate strike placards in the back. So that's also all layers. of single-use plastic. And what I love about the single-use plastic is it's all mostly translucent, so I can layer pieces and get different colors and get, you know, shadings and the translucencies too, so it's fun. I also go really big. This was a fire escape I made out of single-use plastic on the front lawn of the Rye Art Center.
Oh,
So it was like 17 feet tall. Took a little video so you can see it in what it looked like.
Wow.
So I put thread nests in there too.
How is it standing?
It's hanging
Uh-huh.
hanging
Okay.
off a wire. So then I took it apart, and I was part of the Climate Awards it was November of 2019. I had an installation at the Taipei Cultural and Economic Arts Center as part of the Climate Awards put on by the Human Impact Institute. So that's the fire escape now in 2 pieces hanging on a wall there, and all those graffiti things I made. I also made leaves and birds out of plastic.
Wow.
It was hard to capture all in one photograph. That's why these composites, because it was kind of like a narrow, deep room. Here's a little video to give you a taste.
Well, look at those. Huh.
So that's a smaller fire escape. But still probably 10 feet tall. So, and this is my pandemic project. So those birds that you just saw in that
I don't see anything
installation.
anymore. I don't see anything. There's no. Did you turn it off, the video?
No,
I don't see
There's
anything.
an image on the screen. I see it.
I don't see it.
See it.
It's,
I don't
it's,
see it.
it's a
There.
technical problem.
Maybe it's my computer.
So the birds that you saw in the installation before, they're now hanging on a tree in front of my house.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
There's a consultancy in Chicago that started doing this outdoor art during the pandemic project. So they put out a call for art. All you had to do was put your artwork outside where people could see it. Not too many people come up my little street, but heck, there it is. So I made a little video so you can see that.
They're beautiful.
They
Yeah,
are.
aren't they great?
They were fun.
They're beautiful.
Wow.
They're like little angels or prom dresses or something. They're so
I
delicate.
like the way you videoed them from the bottom looking up towards the top of the trees. It really, gives that feeling that they're flying in the trees. Really
Oh,
nice.
thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. I was out on the front lawn with a tennis ball and my daughter, and we were tying fishing line to the tennis ball and throwing it up. And the tree's pretty tall, so we're not very good at softball. So I'm sure we entertained the neighbors for quite a while.
You might have videotaped that, I guess.
No, it's better left on without video. So this is what I'm working on right now. It's a commission for a home portrait. So usually when I make home portraits, people give me the ephemera from their home. But these people told me to use my own materials. So I worked from a photograph of their home, and I used painted dryer sheets for the sky, plastic shopping bags for the house and the rocks, and those color catcher sheets for the grass, and everything else I stitched by machine and by hand.
So people commission you for artwork of their home? That's
Yes.
like a regular thing, right?
Well, it could be a little more regular, but somewhat regular.
That's terrific. Wow.
Thanks. So I'm also working more on those birds. I'm making patterns and seeing if I can make them in some other way.
Wow.
Do I have to turn something on here so I can see the video? I don't see any pictures anymore.
Did you say?
That must be your computer. I don't know what I can do.
Try going to start video,
Yeah,
Ilsa.
Start video?
on the
Start
bottom.
video.
You could probably find it.
That's
maybe.
her video.
That's
What,
right. Start her
I-
video. Yeah.
Look
Maybe
on the bottom of the screen.
Bottom left.
Yes. Oh,
They should say start video and you press on that.
No, that's her video, not what she's viewing on the screen.
no,
I don't know.
I'm on an iPad, so don't worry about it. I just, I saw a lot, but I don't see the
I'm
rest.
sorry.
You see start video.
How about
on-
leave and then come back in, Elsa?
Maybe
Try that.
I do that. Okay.
Okay.
No? All right, so should I continue?
Sure.
Yes.
Up to you.
I'm back, but it didn't change. Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry.
don't worry about it. Yeah.
So I've also, I've been stitching on drum heads. This is, my boyfriend is a drummer and apparently you change drum heads. I had no idea. So he thought of me when he changed the drum heads and he gave me the old ones. So I've been stitching on them too.
So these are hand stitching?
Yes, this is hand stitched.
They look so straight, like,
Well, they're very long stitches. So I make myself a little mock-up and I follow a paper first to make sure that I'm all straight. And then I rip it away and then I add some more without the paper.
oh, that's
Because
great.
how do you
Is
work-
that a telephone pole there
Yes.
on the middle right?
Yep, they're all telephone poles.
You
But
really
how
are
do
a
you-
city girl.
how does it come out black though?
It's black thread.
It's black thread. Ah.
Yeah. So, and this is now, I've also been stitching with cassette tape.
Ah,
This is on a
Oh,
big,
I've got some of that. I put it aside.
I have a lot of that.
what
Where do you
my
get it?
father's whole collection. So that's going to be another fire escape, but it's very slow going. Here's a video of how I'm doing it one stitch at a time.
Trying to get my dog.
needle do you use for that?
Huh?
Hand stitching.
Needle do you use for that?
This is a tapestry needle.
Tapestry, okay. Wow.
It's thicker. It's bigger.
Yeah, it's got a big eye.
Do you ever poke yourself? Are your fingers all calloused?
All the time.
You can't help it, right?
Nope. I hardly notice it anymore. Unless
Ouch.
the needle is super sharp.
So you think your sewing came from your fashion background, you do think?
I think so. I mean, I have very fond memories of mending socks while hanging out with my grandmother. So maybe it came from there. I don't know.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very
I love
original.
the craft and the skill involved in stitching.
So that's
It's just
that.
beautiful.
So I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
You know, a lot people crochet with those bags, single-use bags.
Oh, I know. People knit with them and crochet with them. I don't know how to knit or crochet, and I don't want to learn because that's going to be another rabbit hole for me.
Oh, shucks. I could teach you.
I'm sure you could. There's plenty of people who could, but I can't go there right now.
But when you use those bags, those plastic bags, I mean, how do you get such thin lines with those bags?
Well, how do I get thin lines with the bags?
With like plastics and
Well, all my lines are stitched.
stitched with
You use a
thread.
machine
Yes,
sometimes,
that's how
too,
I get
think.
my lines are stitched with thread. And then my
Machine.
the plastic is just the background. So it's like
Oh, I
layers
see.
of background, then I stitch on top of it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You find
Very
the
original. Very interesting.
Thank you.
you find the plastic hard to stay still? I mean, certain materials sometimes it's hard. Like knit material is hard to you know,
Yeah,
you have
no, it's you know, it doesn't have a weft and a weave, so it's pretty sturdy unless it's very, very flimsy. And I usually layer more than one layer. I usually at least have 2 or 3 layers, and sometimes even up to 10. So it becomes pretty sturdy.
And do you sanitize the plastic or do you just use it?
Well, it's usually clean when you know,
Okay.
I don't pick it up off the street.
Okay, well, I was just curious if there was a process that you did with that.
If it's dirty and I really want to use it, I'll clean it. But
What's your most sought after color?
well, that depends what I'm working on. But I have an overabundance of white And actually, that's really the only one I have oh, yellow. I have an overabundance of yellow too.
Can I save you my New York Times blue bags?
No, thank you.
You can
Start your own project. Robin.
Miss-
I have
Okay.
so much stash. I work with kids and at doing single-use plastic projects with kids, and I make them collect the plastic at home and bring it just to make with, and I get to take home the leftovers. So I have more than enough to last
Really?
me probably a lifetime.
Where do you do this?
What-
Oh,
I'm sorry.
sorry.
Where do
So-
I do this?
No, no.
Where do you
What-
teach?
Oh, it's just like a visiting artist like Joanne does at different schools. I've only just begun, and then the pandemic hit, so, you know.
Oh,
So Natalia,
Met at a school that we were both, I had just finished and she was supposed to be coming in.
Yes, and I was supposed to be there in October.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that
No, I'm
sucks.
sorry, I was supposed to be there in April. Now, hopefully, I'll be there in October. We'll see.
I have a question, Natalia.
Well, which organization is that?
It's me, myself,
Oh,
and
I'm
I.
sorry.
We did that through BOCES. The
Yes.
teacher asked
Oh,
us,
but which organization?
we got paid through BOCES, but the
What?
teacher, Board of something or other, Cooperative Education.
Oh. Sounds
I
good.
never knew what it stood for.
Yeah, they do have a roster. And you can, it's more flexible because you can set your prices, but
Mhm.
Oh, thank you.
Natalia, one question. What can you tell me again? I think you mentioned at the beginning. What is your message by using plastic? Your environmental message?
Well, that single-use plastic should be regulated and it should be phased out. It's polluting our planet.
But you're using it.
I'm using it instead, so I'm not putting it in the trash. I'm not putting it in the landfill. I'm using it.
You're elevating it to the status of art, which is a great opposite, you know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
something that's
Yeah.
trash now all of a sudden is precious and beautiful.
Right.
Yeah,
Going to be reinvented, yes. But
it's very,
it still exists again in a different form. So in a way,
Transform.
you're reworking it in a different form. With other words, you don't help the environment because then people will start copying you, buy plastic and start making the same thing. Then we have the same dilemma.
Nobody can copy a real artist's work. That
I'm not
never
worried
worked.
about them
ever.
copying it, but I would prefer that if they want to create art from single-use plastic, I think they should, because that way at least they'll keep it from going into the trash.
or into the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Or the water.
For the water, yes.
very
yeah,
true.
that aspect of reclamation is really exciting and really laudable in your work. I'm also really interested in what you do with words in your artwork, and it seems to me that maybe those letters that you described as being like ransom letters, maybe those are reclaimed letters. You know, maybe
Yes, they
that's-
are. Yeah. Maybe that's what I should call them. Reclaimed graffiti? No, maybe not. I don't know.
or just letters reclaimed, but they're really effective in what you do, which is, and it's so
Maybe
delicate.
you should collaborate. So Natalia, Suzanne is a poet.
Oh,
So,
sure. I'm always
Interesting
open to
possibility for
collaboration.
collaboration.
interesting.
But
I really,
how
I
did
really love the work.
you showed how you were inspired by, you know, those pictures, which were fantastic photographs unto themselves. But how did it transition from to actually using it? What was that process?
I don't know. Well, I grew up in a pretty thrifty household. I mean, yeah, we darned socks. We didn't just, throw things out.
Okay.
And growing up in the Soviet Union, you always made do. Whatever if you needed some tiles for the bathroom, most usually you couldn't buy what you needed because you couldn't afford it or it wasn't available. So you scrounged up and you had, you know, a mishmash of tiles, but at least your bathroom was tiled. So I kind of, that ethos is part of me. So it just seemed natural to, you know, I started making art from scraps of leftover fabric. So it's just to use a piece of plastic or a piece of dryer lint in it, it was natural. And I collected plastic bags for a while before knowing exactly how I was going to use them. And then I think I needed the right color one day and it was only available in plastic. So I used it and that was it.
Happy accident,
Wow.
huh?
How did you lose your accent, Natalya? You have absolutely no accent left.
Right.
Oh, well, it comes out if I'm tipsy.
Because I'm
How old were you
came
when
in
you
late.
came
Where
here?
are you from?
because I'm from Germany.
I'm from Leningrad, USSR, but I was 11 when I got
okay.
here. So it's been a long time.
And
Yeah,
you
I
have
have
been losing it, I bet.
It's so heavy, yeah. Well,
So your birds were so far have only been the sculptural things, right? The other one that you had in front of the art center, that was huge, like just a huge piece, and it just happened to be outside. Your birds are the only ones so far that are three-dimensional?
Yeah, they are. Well, I'm working on the new birds. I'm making patterns of them now. I'm not quite happy with this one, but it's a work in progress. But I also do, I do some towers. Here, I can turn on my phone and I can take you for a tour because the computer you won't be able to see so easily. Let's see.
Because your architectural renderings sort of lend itself to sculptural aspects of it.
Yeah, I do 3D. So here, let me log into on my phone and then I'll oh, yeah, I have to be let in. Here we go.
I just let you in.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna close this off.
Well, just mute it, yeah.
No, okay. Start video and reverse. Okay, so, well, this is my studio. This is where I was just talking to you. So this is that commission. It's drying here, under here. Here's my sewing machine. It's my trusty Bernina.
Wow.
Ow.
And my ironing board. I don't iron my plastic. And this is kind of goes between here's my pup.
Aw.
same dog.
So this is,
Dog, Natalya. My dog
What?
looks the same.
so here's my my little towers. So these are all various containers, like milk containers that I have covered with plastic and stuffed with plastic and stitched.
Wow.
I usually do this with scraps from my bigger artworks. If I cut off the edges, I save them and then I reuse them. And now I'm making them big. So so these are CD containers that nobody wants anymore and nobody has CDs. So I decided to use them as bases for these tall towers that I'm making. So these are all,
Oh, those
They
are
go
so cool.
over.
Fire
So they're layers,
escape. Oh my
they're layers
gosh,
of
love
plastic and
it.
the fire escape is stitched. So, but I think these
Oh,
are,
it's awesome.
I think these need some graffiti. So I'll be adding those.
Oh, cool. Yes, yes.
So yes, I am getting into 3D a little bit.
I like those a lot. I think they, I like seeing them there was like a red background, like a cityscape background.
Yeah.
That looked really good.
Thank you.
I like them a lot.
It seems to be a fascination with cities and nature where
Yes.
they intersect now. Is that pretty much
Yeah.
true?
Cities and nature, yeah, that covers it all.
Amazing.
Studio, huh?
Simply amazing.
Thank you.
Your studio looks really big.
Well, it's not really. The main room here is an old single car garage. And then the room next door is a play area, but my daughters are now 16 and 18, so they only use it for sleepovers. So I've pretty much got rid of all the toys and put my art in there, and
That's great.
clear when they have over.
That's
Ooh.
great.
Thank you so, so much.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
taking off.
Yeah, it's very
Mm.
fascinating. Thank
It was
you
a
very
great
much,
tour.
Tatiana.
So inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
So, Natalya, is it hard for you to, I mean, I've been cleaning up my studio and I said, why am I saving this? Is it hard for you to get rid of anything?
Yeah. I tend to hold on to little scraps.
Yeah.
And then
Basket of scraps.
them, you know, you have to have, that's why I have boxes in my, you know, those little bins. I try to separate, but still, you know, it all gets stitched up.
And as soon as you throw it out, you need it the next project.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really a downfall of artists.
I mean, you know, the only work I'd seen of yours, Natalya, was at the Holiday Boutique. I had no idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is part of what's so much fun about this, is really,
You know, Natalia had a big piece in the first juried show at Hudson Valley Mocha.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
It was on a wall, and didn't you get a prize?
No, I did not get a prize.
Oh, well, you were in contention for a prize. You didn't know that, but I do.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I
It's
shared that
unique.
piece in
Very
the,
unique work. It's unique work.
oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
How much time does a piece take you,
Well, that depends on the size.
right?
Like this commission that I'm working on now, it's 18 by 18. It's been taking me, I started it pretty much in March. It's the pandemic commission, so.
Mhm.
But I work on more than one piece at a time because I need to put it aside and go work on something else. So I'm not working on it 8 hours a day. But
Right.
it's, about 2 months, I guess, 3 months.
Wow.
Do you draw a lot?
I don't draw enough.
I mean, but do you, is it a drawing? Do you, like for your work, do you sketch it out first and then transfer it, or do you?
I
Just-
sketch it out in Photoshop. So I start with my own photograph,
Okay.
sometimes more than one photograph, and I play with it in Photoshop. I'll change sizes. I'll, put two or three
So your
photographs
photo
together.
is your sketch. Your photo is your sketch.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I do sketch in a sketchbook too, but not enough.
It's not part of the process of your with your plastic work.
No.
Okay. That's okay.
I'd love to watch you make a piece sometime. That would be fun.
Mm.
Or,
I hope you have lots of patience, because that would mean you'd be hanging out with me for a long time.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're hanging out anyway.
We're not
Yeah.
going anywhere for a long time.
Yeah,
So,
hanging out's not in the cards. But I did send you a message, and I'm going to repeat this to everyone. I'd love for you to, we're doing this virtual show, and the deadline theoretically was the June 25th, but there's plenty of room for more artists. And those pandemic birds are wonderful. If you'd like to be part of that show. And anyone else here who'd like to submit something to that show, there's still time.
It's a virtual
We'll fit
show.
you in. It's a virtual show with Peekskill Pride. Artists respond to the pandemic, and it really can be anything. If you've worked on it during the pandemic or not.
So you just
So
send a photograph, right?
what? You send an image, and I'll resend the prospectus.
Okay.
Tatiana, how do you attach your plastic? You glue them down, glue it to paper or what?
So I use a thick interfacing that I stitch it on. So I just layer it on and I stitch. And then I glue it onto a canvas or a cradle board.
Wow.
Once it's complete, then you glue it on.
Yes, once it's complete, I glue it on and I trim the edges.
And what kind of glue do you use?
Matte medium.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now,
It's archival, even though plastic doesn't really need archival, but I'm stitching, so that's my justification for using an archival glue.
Better, probably.
Anyone else have questions for Natalya? This was wonderful.
Great.
Wonderful.
Very impressive, Natalia. Very impressive.
what?
Both the work and the presentation of it. It was really a great studio visit. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Yes, very much so.
Inspiring.
And I'll
Thank
be
you so
sharing the
much.
recording as soon as I get the link from Zoom.
I was wondering, I was going to actually ask you, maybe you could share all of these studio visits on the Facebook page.
The problem is that Zoom doesn't let me store them for too long.
Oh. So you can't have a
I
recording.
can download them, but I don't really know how but I definitely, if I send it, when I send things in MailChimp, I share the link on Facebook. That also gets shared to Facebook. So
Right.
the link would be available from that.
But it
I can
won't
try to
be,
figure out the technology a little better.
it would only be available for a short period of time, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Huh. No. Oh, well.
Unless I download it. The only artist who's asked me to download it, and I don't know how she worked with it, was Barbara Hertzfeld. But I can try to download it and see what you can do with it.
Yeah, be curious.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, any other volunteers?
I'm afraid I don't know this program.
Bill, where's the dog?
Okay.
Have to get to know
People
this.
will get brave as we go by. Didn't you say, Ilsa, that eventually you'd consider it? You're muted. You have to unmute.
I don't think she knows
Not
that.
at this point. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, not at this point, no.
Okay.
So, but in a little
Joanne
while,
can't get into her studio.
I was there. I'm in my studio in Peekskill. I can go again.
Yeah.
I can walk again, yes.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yes. Oh no, but right now or maybe in a couple of weeks, if you still do this.
Yeah, we'll keep doing it as long as people continue to be interested. I think it's wonderful to see
Yeah.
people work
Also,
on their process.
I like Natalya said she does the screen sharing because it's much easier than to relate to the work.
Yes.
To do, and I was going to ask her, do you have to do a PDF file or something to do that? For the screen?
I made a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, and then you just clicked into that and you got everything.
Yeah.
But I think Robin has to give you permission to get in, right? To share the screen. Or
Yes.
can you?
Yeah, but that's nothing. I did that live during the presentation.
If you have a Mac,
I would love to.
And the other thing is also, several people have done practice sessions with me beforehand to make
Great
sure they
idea.
knew how to do it. I'm happy
Great
to
idea.
do that.
Yeah, that's
And-
Helpful.
I would love to do it in a little while from now, but not
You
this
just
minute.
let me know when you're ready.
Absolutely, absolutely. I enjoy this very much. It's great. And
And you
Natalya,
can-
great.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Hmm?
I was just going to say you can also get, do tutorials on using Zoom
Yeah.
all around the internet, and that could make, your work much, focus on your work much more intense and effective. So that would be
Yeah,
important for
I
business, I think.
downloaded it. I didn't pay for it. Do you have to pay for it to?
No.
No, you can just Google, how to use Zoom.
Oh.
Joanne,
Without that, you know, we don't really see what you're doing.
what's everyone been working on? We know what Natalia's been doing.
Well, you guys can still look at the BAU website. I am the artist still on the first page. That's
Right.
So if you all have time to go on baugallery.org in Beacon, I have all the new work or part of it on the homepage of the homepage. I'm artist
Great.
of the still till the end of next week.
Okay.
So if you have time to go on, but that's a little.
I always put my stuff on.
You can just go on Facebook and click on my Facebook page. It's also there. It goes right in. Yeah.
The link is also on the PAA Facebook page.
My link?
The link to your show.
Oh, good. You mean to the page, to the week, artist of
Yeah.
the week. Oh, that would be great. Yeah, thank you. Do we have to join? Do we have to join that page, Robin, or can we just go into the Facebook page of
You can
the?
go. You can just go to Peekskill Arts Alliance.
Oh, okay, okay.
There's a members only page that you have to join, but not the regular Peekskill Arts Alliance page.
That's for the public, yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Well, this has really been great. Any other comments or questions? Joanne, you
Thanks
look
again
like you're.
for putting-
Great job.
Thanks for putting this together again, Robin.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're
And
welcome.
I want to study how to do the I'm interested in presenting, Robin. I really don't know how to do it. So I'm going to try to study it.
I'll try to find. We'll find you a tutorial, and I'll do a run through with you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It helps a lot, Joanne. It helps.
Did you do
If
it?
you haven't seen it, Joanne's work is just beautiful. You have to. That'll be a
thank you.
fun visit.
I'd love to see it.
Thank you. I've been doing a lot of different stuff lately, so
Good.
I'd like to share it.
I want to see that too. Okay. Thanks for joining, everyone. This was really.
It was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
It was great.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bravo.
Okay. Nice to see everyone.
Thank
You
you.
too. You
Bye,
too.
everybody.
Robin.
Good night.
Stay
Thanks
healthy
again,
well.
Natalia.
Everybody.
Stay
Bye-bye.
healthy as well,
Yeah.
everybody.
And Natalia was really great.
Oh, thank you. It was great to
Good
see
night.
everybody.
I don't know. I guess we're finished.
Yeah.